Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm trying to focus on a moment that's already gone. A ghost in the lens, I half remember song. My thumb's on the shutter, but my hand's not steady. Life's moving too fast and I'm never quite ready. I frame up a smile that I saw yesterday, but it's already faded, already gray. We're all archivists now, storing light in a chip, but the feeling gets lost in the export and zip. I miss the weight of a photo, the grain in the paper, the slow reveal of a developing caper. Now I'm chasing a clarity that doesn't exist, a digital ghost in a photographic mist. It's a blur in the viewfinder, a slip in my grip, trying to catch the real thing before it can slip through the digital fingers. The pixel parade, I'm searching for texture in a world they've remade. Yeah, a blur in the viewfinder, a beautiful mess. I'll take the imperfection, I'll take the guess. Give me the grain, give me the shake, a moment that's real for memory's sake. Yeah, I'll say memory's sake. Yeah. My memory's a photo with 1,000 unnamed files, a landscape of thumbnails, a catalog of smiles. I swipe and I scroll, but I can't feel the weight of the Polaroid I took back in '98. The corners were soft, the colors were strange, but the truth in the image never needed a range. Now everything's sharp and everything's clean, but the soul of the moment is rarely seen. So I'm setting the focus on what's slightly unclear. The blur is the part that keeps a memory near. I'm learning to love the wobble, the flare, the drift, the way a photograph becomes its own gift. What if the blur is the feeling? What if the grain is the healing? We've been sold on precision, sold on the clean, but the messy is where I've been finding the mean between what I wanted and what I got. A blurry frame, a second shot. It's a blur in the viewfinder, and maybe that's fine. A life out of focus, a different design. Not every frame needs to be crystal clear. Some truths only show when the edges disappear. Blur in the viewfinder, I'm learning to see the beauty in what's not perfectly me.
My head's a receiver, picking up static, a mix of the real and the cinematic. Voices from yesterday, feedback from tomorrow, a frequency of joy layered over sorrow. I try to tune into the present station, but there's interference from old conversations. A glitch in the signal, a skip in the groove, a reminder that nothing's designed to improve without a little noise, without a little grit. The picture is clean, but the soul doesn't fit, so I let the needle jump, I let the tape hiss. Every error's a part of the system I'm in. It's a glitch in the signal, a crack in the code, a break in the rhythm that lightens the load. 'Cause perfect is hollow and seamless is cold. The truth has a texture that's messy and bold. Yeah, a glitch in the signal, I'm learning to love the moments that don't fit the program above. Static and stutter, a skip in the track, I'm never going back. They sold me a world with a seamless connection, no interruption, no introspection, but the side silence between the bars of a song is where I've been learning to belong. So let the needle jump, let the record skip, let the words get lost in the playback strip. I'm collecting the errors, the outtakes, the flaws, the unwritten clauses, the unapplauded applause. There's a beauty in breaking that nobody sold. A glitch is a story that never gets told. I'm making a collage from the parts that were cut, the digital dust, the analog rut. Now when my thoughts start to buffer and stall, I don't reboot, I listen to the call of the random, the glitch, the unplanned detour, the part of the signal that's never been pure. It's teaching me grace, it's teaching me pause. It's the crack in the system without any cause. Glitch in the signal, it's how I survive. A static reminds me I'm still alive, not a machine running smooth on the grid, but a human who's learning to live with the skid. Glitch in the signal, I'm keeping it close. The beautiful arrow body compose. Yeah. I got a shoebox full of people I used to be, each one a ghost staring back at me. The boy with the skateboard, the kid with the dreams, the one who believed in impossible schemes. They're all in a pile, corners bent like struck, each one a version that ran out of luck, or courage, or patience, or time, or trust. Just faces emerging from chemical dust. I pour one out, hold it up to the light. A conversation I'll never get right. I want to apologize, I want to explain why I left them behind in the frame. Polaroid ghosts fading away, shadows of who I was before the long night. I don't wanna bury them, I don't wanna cling, just wanna acknowledge the song they would sing. Yeah, Polaroid ghosts, you made me what's here. I carry you with me, no need to fear. You're not forgotten, you're part of the ground, the soil where my present was found. My father, before he got tired, his smile still wide with a spark I admired. There's one over street I swore I'd outgrow, now I pay any price just to walk it real slow. The shoebox is heavy, but heavy is good. It means I was present, I felt what I could. I'm not gonna filter, I'm not gonna crop the awkward, the painful, the places I'd stop and turn back if I could. But since I can't rewind, I honor the ghosts that I left behind. They whisper to me in the quiet of night, you're still that person, you're doing alright. I used to think moving on meant letting go. Now I know that's a lie, and I wanna grow. With all of my ghosts in a slow parade, the light in the dark, the promises made. They're not a burden, they're not a chain, they're the roots that let me weather the rain. Polaroid ghost, you're my archive of grace, the map of the time and the love and the space. I don't need to be one, I need to be all. The rise and the stumble, the stand and the fall. Polaroid ghost, I'm keeping you near. Every version of me I still hold dear. My heart is an analog, it runs on friction. A needle on vinyl, a beautiful restriction. It doesn't buffer, it doesn't cache it. It feels every skip, every bump in the path. I try to upgrade to a digital model, a cleaner connection, a less tangled throttle. But the circuits were cold and the interface flat. I miss the hiss, I miss the chat between the strings and the air in the room, the echo that blooms like a flower in June. So I unscrewed the chassis, I pulled out the board. I went back to the warmth I could afford. I got an analog heart in a digital world, a slow moving signal, a flag still unfurled. It hums with the warmth of a tube that's been lit. It takes its own time and I'm fine with it. Yeah, an analog heart, it crackles and pops, but it's real and it's mine and it never just stops. It breathes and it sway, it's not on demand, it's a touch of a hand. They want me to sink to the cloud, to the stream, to trade in the texture for a frictionless dream. But I'm keeping the wires, the plugs, the old tape, the beauty of things that are harder to shape. I write with a pen that scratches the page. I dance to a rhythm that comes with an age. My love's not a swipe, it's a hand that you hold, a story that's told with a stammering fold. So let them have Bluetooth, I'll take the cord. My analog heart is its own reward. It takes time to warm up, it takes time to cool. It lives in the space between the rule. There's a beauty in slowness the world forgot, a truth in the night that's not instantly bought. I'm keeping my voltage analog lo-fi, dear, the kind that persists when the power's not here. It's not a bug, it's a feature of being a human, still seeing, still feeling. Analog heart, it might skip, it might drag, but it's never a ghost in a digital bag. It's here in the room, it's dust on the sleeve. It's the sound of a life that's too full to believe. Analog heart, I'm keeping it true. In a world that wants new, I'll stay with the few who remember the warmth, who cherish the hump. My analog kingdom, my home.
Found a tape in the box, label forget, a label that's faded but the memory's set. I blew off the dust, slid it into the slot. The static was heavy but I knew the plot. It was summer, a portrait radio playing, a version of me that was busy not saying the things that I felt, just letting them be. Now I'm watching it back, trying to see the moment I changed from who I was then to the man in the present, the woman, the friend. The tracking lines wobble, the colors bleed, but every flaw is exactly what I need. It's the last VHS, tracking lines across the screen, a window to a world that I haven't been since the days were longer and the stakes were low. A reel of a self I've forgotten in a note. Yeah, the last VHS, a ribbon of light, a reminder of when I was light, I was bright. Let it warp, let it hiss, let it play. I'm watching it all again today. I see myself laughing with nothing to prove, a posture of ease I've been trying to move. Back into my spine, back into my breath. Before I learned worry, before I learned death. The tape's almost eating, the spool's getting thin, but I watch it again, let the rawness sink in. Maybe the version I'm searching for now was never lost, just waiting to resurface somehow. In the grain of the footage, the flutter, the drop, a language of memory that never will stop. I could digitize it, clean it it up, make it new. But I lose what I need, I'd lose what is true. There's a reason we keep the original tape, not for the sharpness, but for the shape of the moments we live without knowing they'd be the only time capsule that belongs to me. So I'll let it run until it runs out. A beautiful, imperfect shout. The last VHS, it's almost done, but the feeling remains when the screen goes numb. I don't need to save it, I don't need to store. It lives in my chest, it's what I'm here for. Last VHS, you taught me to hold the fragile, the fade, and the stories untold. Is a furnace, and we're all the coal, burning bright for a roll, burning down for a goal. Skyline is teeth, and we're in the jaw, grinding the hours, ignoring the flaw. I saw a man on the subway with eyes like a ghost. He was running on fumes, giving the most of his waking hours to a screen and a chair. A life that was once his, now just to repair. I looked in the window, I saw my own face. Same hollow expression, same desperate pace. We're all in the race, but nobody wins. We just keep running on borrowed chins. Burnout City, where the lights never dim. We're feeding the fire with the best parts of him and her and us, and the dreams that we had turn to ash in the chase to be less sad. Yeah. Calling the truth, I'm stepping away from the flame, cut it loose. Let it burn without me, let it spin. I'm going where the quiet begins. I used to think arrest was a sign of defeat, a surrender of ground, a retreat from the heat. Now I know that the heat is the thing that consumes the garden you tend in, the room that you're in. So I'm pulling the plug, I'm unplugging the clock. I'm trading the treadmill for a slow, steady walk. The city will burn with or without my spark. I'm finding the silence inside of the dark. There's a rhythm and stillness, a song in the park, a way to exist without giving the cost of my life to a system that only takes more. While I stand at the door, I'm not quitting, I'm choosing a different way of losing the race that was never meant to be won. I'm finding the sun on my own time. Burnout City, you'll be fine. I'll visit when I need the reminder that I'm not a burner, I'm a finder. Burnout City, I'm taking my name off the roster, off the flame. I'll be a garden where things can grow. frayed at the edges, the threads coming loose. A sweater I've worn through too many abuses, or whether a worry of walking through briars, of tending too many unquenchable fires. But I don't want a new one, I don't want a patch, the phrase or the map of the places I've scratched, to find my way back when the path disappeared. The phrase or the proof that I've weathered the years. So let them unravel, let them hang free. I'm done with the pretense of seamless and clean. Every loose thread is a story I've earned, a lesson I've learned, a corner I've turned. I'm frayed, but I'm holding together a patchwork of storms and improvised weather. The loose ends of singing a song I composed from the life that I lived and the peace I've opposed. Yeah, frayed, and I'm finally fine with the beautiful broken design. Let them stare at the seams, I'll wear them with pride. The fray is the part where the real me resides. They tell me to mend it, to tailor the stitch, to hide every part of me that's made me rich, and the things that I've learned from the falling apart, the courage I've found in my own fragile heart. So I wear the unraveling like a crown, a testament to not shutting down when the weight was too much and the road was too long. I kept the thread going, I kept the song. So here are the phrases, the unraveled, the torn, the proof that I made it, the ragged and worn. Each thread holds a memory, each tear holds a tear, a map of the years I refuse to disappear. Perfection is fragile, but fraying is strong. It bends without breaking, it knows how to belong in a world that keeps asking for polish and gloss. I'll be the texture that doesn't get lost. I'll be the sweater that's soft from the wear, yeah. The fabric of someone who's willing to care. Frayed, but I'm still here, still standing, still clear. The threads may be loose, but they're tied to my soul. A tapestry made from the things that made me whole. Frayed, and I'm finally free. The beautiful mess that I'm choosing to be. Frayed, and I'm finally free. The beautiful mess that I'm choosing to be. We romanticize ruins, the ivy, the stone, but nobody talks about the slow decay alone. The way a friendship loosens like a thread from a seam, the way a promise crumbles a forgotten dream. It's not a crash, it's not a fire, it's a quiet unspooling of all we admire. A rust on the hinge, a crack in the wall, a phone call you keep meaning to make, then don't call. It's the gentle erosion of what used to be solid, the truth that you carry but never acknowledge. I've watched it happen, I felt it inside. The slow quiet tide, where the best parts hide. Slow decay, it takes its time, turning the mountains into hills, the hills into lines. It's not a tragedy with a single fall, it's a million small nothings to cover it all, yeah. Slow decay, I'm learning to see the beauty in things that are setting me free. Not everything broken needs to be fixed, sometimes the decay is a mix. I let go of a friendship last winter, no fight. It just grew quieter, softer, less light. No blame, no letter, no final good word. Just two people walking away from what was heard. In the silence between us, we both understood that some things end not with bad, but with good. A natural fate in a season that passed. I carry the warmth of it, not the ash. Slow decay, you taught me that leaving can be a form of believing. In the new that emerges when old things make space, a quieter grace, a slower pace. I used to fight every crack, every fade. Now I sit in a garden that slow decay made. The moss on the stone, the patina on brass, the way that the future grows out of the past. It's not lost, it's a turning, a softening, a learning. Slow decay, I'm making you mine. The rust and the rot, the sweet bitter wine of a life that's been lived without hiding a stain. I'm not running from time, I'm letting it rain. Slow decay of the artist I trust, turning the temperate into just.
I used to paint my life in primary colors, red for the passion, blue for the others. Now I see the world in shades of gray, the subtle distinctions that get lost in the fray, the space between anger and what lies beneath, the nuance and silence, the truth in the teeth of a conversation that doesn't resolve, the beautiful mess that we're all trying to solve. I traded the bold for the complex and quiet, a palette that asked me to truly sit with it. No more heroes, no more villains in sight, just people in shadows and flickering light. Grayscale, but it's not a lack, it's a spectrum of light that refuses to crack into easy binary, simple divides, the shadow and highlight where meaning resides. Yeah, grayscale, the picture is clear, the richness is found in the tones you don't hear. Give me the gray, give me the doubt, that's what living's about. I don't need to call it good or bad, I don't need to claim what I never had. I just wanna see the texture of now, the silver in sorrow, the gold in the vow. I keep with myself to stay present, awake to the subtle distinctions that most people fake, in the name of a story that's clean and defined, but leaves all the real living behind. So give me the grace, the in-between space, the honest, the humble, the beautiful face that's not trying to be more than it is, a quiet, authentic biz. I've learned that the truth rarely sits in the extremes, it lives in the folds of our half-realized dreams, in the maybe, the almost, the not quite there, the weight of the air that we all have to share. So I'm letting the gray be my guide, there's nowhere to hide, and that's fine. Grayscale, it's my palette now, every shade of promise, every tone of vow, to see what is, not what I want it to be, the full complexity of you and me. Grayscale, it's enough, it's the color of love. A room where only I speak, a feedback loop, a game of hide and seek, with my own reflection, my own design, a comfort that slowly began to confine. I whisper my fears and they
come back louder. I looked for a way out and the walls got prouder of keeping me safe from the outside noise. But safety became just another set of poise. I forgot there were voices that weren't my own, that the world had a music I'd never been shown. The echo was sweet but it hollowed me out, a beautiful self-made drought. I'm leaving the echo chamber, opening the door, letting the silence be broken by more than the sound of my own voice circling back. I'm trading the comfort for a different track, yeah. Echo chamber, you were a home, but I need to wander, I need to roam. Let the new sounds in, let them clash. I'm ready for the beautiful crack, yeah. Stepped outside and the air was so wide. I heard a stranger laugh and a child cry. I heard a street musician play something wrong, and the crowd didn't care, they just sang along. It was messy, it was loud, it was perfectly true, a dissonant choir that I needed to hear through. My perfect room was a beautiful cage. Now I'm learning the freedom of turning the page, with voices that challenge, that sharpen, that bend. The echo is gone and the music won't end. I'm collecting the harmonies I used to refuse, a collaborative muse. The echo taught me my own voice well, but now I need stories I can't foretell. I need the friction, the scrape, the surprise, the truth that lives in another's eyes. So I'm leaving the chamber, I'm stepping out, where there's no doubt what living's about. Oh, echo chamber, thank you for the sound, but I'm building a life on more solid ground, where I listen as much as I speak, where the strong become humble, the humble are meek. Echo chamber, I'm finally out and the world is so loud, and I love what I found.
Walking through the wreckage of what I destroyed, looking for pieces I can still employ. Not to rebuild what it was before, but to build something new from the scattered floor. A hinge from a promise, a nail from a fight, a window of patience, a shattered one night, a beam of forgiveness that held up the roof before I convinced myself there was no proof that anything good could come from the dust. But salvage is hope and salvage is trust. I pick through the rubble with careful hands, finding the parts that still make sense. I'm a salvage artist, working with the used, the broken, the bent, the badly abused, by time and by choice, by fear and by pain. I'm making a shelter from the falling rain. Yeah, salvage is not about going back, it's about finding the gold in the cracks. Every dent is a lesson, every scratch is a scar, a blueprint of who we are. I found a piece of laughter I thought I'd lost, a splinter of courage I paid with a cost, a scrap of a song I used to sing when the future was not such a frightening thing. I'm not repairing, I'm reimagining the shape of a life that's worth the imagining, with edges that show where I broke and I healed, a structure more honest than one ever sealed. So let them build new from the factory line. I'll take the salvage and I'll make it mine. I'll weld the broken into something strong, a place where I finally belong. They say start fresh, throw the old away, but I know the value of what's worn and gray. Every chip tells a story, every crack is a song of the times I held on when I shouldn't have strong. So I'm keeping the wreckage, I'm making it art, the map of my flawed, persistent heart. Salvage, I'm building a home from the places I've roamed and the things I've outgrown. Not a palace, not a show, but a shelter that's true from the parts that survived when I didn't know what to do. Salvage, you taught me to see that the broken in me is the strength that I need. what I want before I decide. The digital mirror that I can't hide. It feeds me my loneliness packaged as friend. It promises starting, it promises ends. It knows I was searching for something at 3 a.m. It shows me a face that I might have been if I'd made different choices. If I clicked on that link, it knows more about me than I think. But it doesn't know why I still stare at the screen, trying to find something it's never seen. It knows my location, my age, my desire, but it can't touch the wire. The algorithm knows my name, my desire. It fuels the confusion, it feeds the fire. But it doesn't know the quiet I keep, the promises I make when I'm falling asleep. Yeah, the algorithm knows the surface of me, but it can't see the depth of the sea. It can't trace the path of a solitary tear, or the years that disappear. I scroll through a life that's curated and bright, but it feels like a tunnel without any light. It shows me a version that I could perform, a character safe from the coming storm. But I want the storm, I want the rain. The algorithm can't process the joy and the pain. In the same frame, in the same breath, it only knows what it can transact. So I'm closing the window, I'm stepping outside, where no one's predicting the turns of the tide, where I'm just a body in real space and time, with a heart that's not part of the design. It try to box me, label, sell, but there's a part of me it can't compel. The messy, the slow, the unpredictable, the human, the whole, the inexplicable. So let it learn, let it track. I'll be the data it can't unpack. The algorithm knows, but it doesn't know me, the person I am when I'm finally free. From the feed, from the scroll, from the endless compare. I'm more than the clicks, I'm the air. Algorithm, you can keep your score. I'm something you can't predict anymore.
God in an antique store last Tuesday, between a rotary phone and a vase from the 40s. He wasn't selling salvation, just old things with stories. Broken clocks, mismatched sets, forgotten allegories. He said people come here looking for what they lost, a piece of their childhood, a love that they crossed. They touch the old wood, they wind the old key, and for a moment they feel what they used to be. I bought a cracked mirror for $1 and change, and I saw in the glass a reflection that rearranged the way I was looking for a meaning outside, when it was here all along in the dust and the tide. Antique store theology, the sacred in the dust, the beauty in the tarnish, the patience in the rust. Not a sermon on a mountain, but a lamp without a shade, the truth you find in places where nothing new is made. Antique store theology, it's humble and it's slow. It's the wisdom in the objects that the years have let go. Every scratch, every dent, a prayer that was sent, a testament. I asked him what's the meaning, what's the point of it all. He pointed to a typewriter that was missing the ball. Said this machine still tells a story, though the letters won't align. The meaning's not in perfection, it's in the imperfect design. I left with a pocket full of change and a light ahead, a God in the broken, a faith I can tread in the floors of the ordinary, in the shops of the old. A truth that's not bought and a truth that's not sold. I started seeing altars everywhere I went, a cracked sidewalk, a fence post bent, a faded sign, a worn out shoe, each one a clue. We've been taught to look up, to seek the grand, but the sacred is closer. It's under your hand, and the things that have lived, that have weathered the years, and the patina of joy and the sediment of tears. So I'll keep my theology dusty and true in the antique store, in the worn and the few. Antique store theology, I'm making it mine. The God in the brain, the spirit in time. Not polished or perfect, but steady and real. The only kind of faith that I can feel. Antique store theology, I found you at last. In the beauty of things that were built to last.
Been holding a frequency that cuts like a knife, a note of resentment I've carried through life. It vibrates in my chest when I think of the past, a hum that I thought would be the last to leave me, but it's part of my song now. A sour chord I've been trying to sing through somehow. Then I heard a new note, a different vibration, a voice in the noise of my own condemnation. It said let it go, not for them but for you. The frequency shifts when you choose to undo the knot you've been holding so tight in your core. There's a note that can open the door. The frequency of forgiveness is lower than pride. It's a hum you can feel when you stop trying to hide from the things that you did and the things that were done. It's the note that resolves when you choose to become someone lighter, someone free, someone who lets the past be. Not forgetting but tuning the sound to a frequency that won't keep you down. I sat in the quiet and tuned my own ear to the sound of the thing that I've been trying to hear. It wasn't a thunder, it wasn't a shout, it was a soft steady tone that I've been filtering out, because anger was louder and blame was so sharp. But forgiveness is patient, it plays on the heart, but a heart that's been bruised but still willing to mend. It's not a beginning, but it's not an end. It's a frequency now that I carry with me, a note in a chord of what I choose to be. I can't always hit it, but I know where it lies, a pitch in the center of my own eyes. They say forgiveness is for the other, but I've learned it's the bridge to a different weather. It's the key that unlocks my own self, the story I needed to tell myself, so I could walk without the weight. A frequency that lets me set the date for a new beginning, a lighter load, a different road. Frequency of forgiveness, I'm tuning in slow, letting the old dissonance go. It's not forgetting the chord that was wrong, it's choosing a new, more resonant song. The frequency of forgiveness is playing now, a vibe I'm keeping somehow. Keeping somehow. built a cardboard kingdom in the basement that year, with crayon flags and a throne made of fear. We conquered the couch cushions, we mapped out the rug. We were kings of the hallway, and nothing was bugged. The world outside was a rumor we didn't believe. We had everything we needed to laugh and to grieve. In our makeshift castle, our fragile domain, where the rules were our own and the losses were plain. But we didn't lose much except for the time that we spent being free in a kingdom of mine. I remember the smell of the tape in the box, the way we'd invent without clocks. Cardboard kingdom is falling apart, but the memory lives in the chambers of my heart. A shelter of innocence, a fortress of play. A time before I learned to worry and weigh every move, every word, every step that I take. Cardboard kingdom, for goodness sake. I still build you in dreams, with crayon flags and impossible schemes. Yeah, now I build with different materials now, with contracts and calendars, a more serious vow. But sometimes I see a child with a box on the lawn, and I remember the kingdom before it was gone. The way that a marker could make a whole world, a flag made of paper, a story unfurled. I want that back, not to live there again, but to carry the spirit into the man. And women we are, with our mortgages stressed, to find in the cardboard a way to be blessed, to remember that walls are just what we agree, and we can be free. Maybe the kingdom was never the box, but the permission to unlock the part of ourselves that still believes in the magic that lives in the simplest sleeves. I'm taking that lesson into my days, a cardboard mindset in a concrete maze. Cardboard kingdom, you're still standing tall, in the part of me that refuses to fall. For the lie that the real is only what's bought, the kingdom I built from a beautiful thought. Cardboard kingdom, I'm bringing you here, into the architecture of the life I hold dear. I was standing in the station, watching people pass, each one a universe behind a pane of glass. A woman with a suitcase, a man with tired eyes, a child holding a balloon against the gray sky. I realized in that moment, with a sudden quiet ache, that every single person had a life I couldn't take, or hold, or fix, or fully understand. A story in the pocket, a map inside the hand. I was just a stranger, a blur in their own frame. Somehow that awareness seized the weight of my own name. It wasn't a loss, it was a gain, a release from the solitary pain. Sunder, they call it, the knowing that you're not the only one with battles, the only one who fought. The quiet revolution busy street. The comfort in the chaos, the grace in the defeat. Yeah, it's under, it's a feeling that we're all in this together. Each carrying the weather, each stitching up a tether to the ones we'll never know. Somehow still hold a story that's told in the collective soul. I used to think my pain was singular and loud, a spotlight on my sorrow in a faceless crowd. But now I see the layers, the intersections, the ties, the unsung symphonies behind 1,000 lives. The man who sells me coffee has a daughter in the war. The woman on the corner has a son she's waiting for. We're all just walking stories, a library of scars, a constellation of attempts, a sky of falling stars. And sunder is the language that lets me softly say, I see you, I am you, in a different shade of gray. It's not about fixing, it's about being near, in the midst of the fear. So when I'm drowning in my own little sea, I remember the station, the faces, the key that unlocked the door to the wider room, where isolation cannot bloom, because we're all in it, every last one, a shared walk under the same sun. Sunder, I carry it now like a stone, not heavy but ground in a tone that reminds me that I'm just one thread in the weave, and that's all I need to believe. Sunder, the gift of the glance that gives me a second chance to not be alone in my head, to live instead.
A drawer full of letters I never send, to the people I love, to the ones that I've been out of shape, trying to fit in a mold they preferred. Every word that I swallowed, every feeling deferred. There's one to my father, I wrote it at dawn, saying I know you did your best and I'm moving on. There's one to a friend who I lost to a lie, where I took all the blame just to let it all die. They're folded in silence, a stack of unsaid, a history of things I kept inside my head. I used to think they were failures, loose ends. Now I know they're my friend. Unsent letters, they hold all the space of conversations I never got to face. They're not a regret, they're a map of the care I carried for people I couldn't quite share with directly, but the words are still true. Unsent letters, I wrote them for you. They live in the drawer, and they live in my chest, the quiet, unspoken best. I used to think sending was the only way through, that a letter unsealed was a love that I blew. But now I see the drawer as a sacred place, a time capsule holding the grace I extended to myself by not forcing the hand of a conversation that wouldn't have landed as planned. The words are still mine, they still shaped who I am, like a river that flows without touching the dam. So I keep them unsent, a quiet library of a love that was real, though it never had to be. They taught me that sometimes the act of the right is enough for the night. Maybe one day I'll burn them, let the smoke rise, a final goodbye in the
shape of a sigh. Or maybe they'll stay in the drawer with the rest. A permanent, gentle, unexpressed blessing I gave to myself. A different kind of wealth. Unsent letters, you're not a mistake. You're the space I allowed myself to take. To feel without consequence, to love without proof. A silent endure. Unsent letters, I'm keeping you near. A whisper that says what I couldn't make clear.
I've been living with an error I purchased for years, only letting in the light. I could control the fears, I could manage the focus, tight on what was safe, blurring out the edges that could carry me away. But lately I've been opening it up, letting in the white, the corners of the frame where mystery and grace reside. The things I can't predict, the faces I don't know, the beauty that exists outside of the status quo. It's a risk to open up, to let the blur be part. But I'm finding that the wide view is the landscape of the heart. Every time I widen I feel less alone, a deeper tone. Aperture open, let the light spill in. Let the soft and the sharp both begin to tell a bigger story, a less controlled scene. A life that is richer than it's ever been. Yeah, aperture open, I'm learning to see the beauty of the wide, the truth of the free. Let the background sing, let the foreground breathe, a way to believe. I see the cracks in the pavement now, the way the weeds push through. The consolations in the spills of coffee, morning dew. I see the stranger on the bus, not as a threat, but as a thread in the fabric I've been weaving from the words I left unsaid. The depth of field is deeper now, the background has a voice. It's no longer just the foreground telling me my choice is the only thing that matters. Now the context has a say in the picture I'm composing with the light of every day. So aperture open, I'll take the overexposed. The life is fully lived, the one that I propose. The flaws and the glares, the flare and light, all of it's right. I used to crop out the messy parts, now I know they hold the arts of living fully, not just clean. A wider lens, a different scene, I'm letting it all in. The joy in the ache, for heaven's sake. Aperture open, I'm not closing it now. I'm making a vow to allow the whole picture, the edges, the blur, to become what I prefer. Aperture open, I'm finally wide, with nothing left to hide. Aperture open, I'm not closing it now. I'm making a vow to allow the whole picture, the edges, the blur, to become what I prefer.
rusted antenna on a rooftop alone. Been from the weather but it's holding a tone, a frequency I've been searching for since I was young. A signal of meaning, a song to be sung. Sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's just noise. Sometimes I forget I was given a voice to tune into something beyond the routine. The hum of the unseen, the space in between. I climb up the fire escape, twisted by hand, trying to find the right point in this broken land. The static is fierce but I know there's a thread, a voice in my head. Rusted antenna, still reaching for the sky. Ooh, picking up the whispers of the reasons why we keep going when the static says to stop. Ooh, finding a connection in the rain and the rock. Yeah, rusted antenna, it's not much to see, but it's still pulling in the frequency that keeps me alive, that keeps me in tune with the hidden moon. Ooh, yeah. I used to think I needed a tower, a clear line of sight, a perfect reception to make it alright. But the rust taught me patience, the static taught me faith, that even in the noise there's a truth I can taste. So I'll keep it bent, keep it weathered, keep in mind this imperfect receiver, this awkward design. It catches the songs that the clean ones can't hear, the ghosts in the wires, the love that stays near. So let them polish their towers, I'll keep my old ride. Rusted antenna, I'm finding my God in the crackle and pop, in the hiss and the hum, where the answers come from. Someday the signal is weak, almost gone, but I know it's still there, hanging on. Because I've heard the music when the stars align, a moment of grace that was always mine. So I'll keep adjusting, keep turning the dial for that brief, beautiful while. Rusted antenna, you're all that I need, a conduit planted in the soil of my creed. You bend but don't break, you rust but you sing, you're my most reliable thing. Rusted antenna, I'm listening still to the frequency that I will. To the frequency that I will. Tape is showing the edge of the town, where the song starts to warp and the voices get slow, and we realize there's not much further to go. But the beauty is in what we recorded along the way, the laughter that crackles the words we forgot to say, the silence between the tracks that holds the deepest breath, the courage to keep singing even knowing it's the last. I'm not afraid of the end, I'm just grateful for the spin, for the chance to let the music out, to let the truth begin. Every wobble, every warble, every imperfection is a part of the collection. Before the tape ends, let me play it loud, for the ones I've loved, for the wandering crowd, for the mistakes that taught me, for the scars that heal, for the moments I felt something that was real. Yeah, before the tape ends, let me leave this mark, a little bit of light in the vulnerable dark. Let the hits be my choir, the splice be my art, a final
imperfection, the drag, the skipping needle, the beat that's a little off equal the bag of worries I carry that taught me how to live. The gift of the struggle, the beautiful rift between who I was and who I'm trying to be. A song that's still writing itself inside me. So let the tape run, let it stretch, let it then I'll keep singing until the very last spin. And when it's done, when the silence arrives, I'll know that I used all the moments of my life. Not perfectly but fully, not clean but sincere, with nothing to fear. We spend so much time trying to rewind, to fix the mistakes, to redesign, but the tape only moves forward at its grace. It carries us into the next space. So I let it play, I let it end, with gratitude to every friend who made the mix what it became. A life, a love, a name. Before the tape ends, I'll press record one more time, a final chord. Now for posterity, just for now, a moment I finally allow to be enough, to be complete. Before the silence, before the retreat, before the tape ends,